Happy Friday. Welcome back to Unlocked with Key and BB. And man, what a great week we've had, man. We had some new segments added to the squad today. Yesterday, we had our very first 4-person episode. We let BB run the show. We're past the technical difficulties, but we got to grow a little bit yesterday as a team, as a group. And this week has been more than amazing. It's a Freaky Friday in the Carolinas. BB, how are we feeling on this episode of Unlocked with Key and BB?
It's like you said, it's been a good week. This is going to conclude week 3 of doing this show. It's kind of crazy how much we've already got under our belt in just these 3 weeks. I was talking to Key earlier. We need to celebrate our little wins doing this show. It's sometimes hard to have motivation to keep going when obviously you see all these other shows like the Pat McAfee show, like these guys get 100,000 viewers live. And you like to question, why are we not doing that? But we got to remember, we're just now getting started. We're not even a month into it, but we're having fun. We're fired up. And we're ready to get this episode going.
Yep. Speaking of celebrating, BB, let's just go ahead and celebrate right now. Why not? We've officially gotten to 20,000 views in terms of YouTube standards, which is awesome for 3 weeks. That's way better than I would have expected. I don't know what speed I was expecting to go at, but when you told me we have 20,000 views on YouTube at this point, that's freaking awesome. That's freaking awesome. Let's go. We're eating right now. Clap that up. And then also, how many likes are we at? Or we're pushing up to 5,000 likes on our TikTok page right now as well. And that's one of the tougher things, like the editing, the clipping, the taking the episodes and finding the best parts for people to see. Like, that's the tough part. And we're starting to see some show for what we've been working on. And that's freaking epic. That's literally awesome. So, hey, shout out to the boys.
If you would have told me that when we started this show 3 weeks in, we'd already be surpassing 20,000 views on YouTube, I would have taken it 10 times out of 10. So I think that's just a credit to the hard work we've been putting in, man. Good stuff.
Absolutely. And shout out all the guys that have joined us for the ride, who have been on the show, who have been in the streams, everybody with the likes on TikTok, the views on YouTube. Shout out to you guys, because this show is nothing without you guys. If we've had 0 views up to this point, 3 weeks in, I don't know if I'd still be going, BB. So shout out to everybody that has, helped us out, has been a part of the squad. You guys are more important than we are. And man, speaking of people being a part of the show, we've got multiple people joining the show with us here today. We've got our boy Tiger back in the building for another week of Tiger's Big Bets. We're going to cover a little bit more college football playoff with that guy here today. And listen, that guy knows ball. He knows ball. I have a weird feeling me and him are going to split heads here a little bit about what's going on with the college football playoff, especially with the SEC, especially with Ohio State. He had a little chirp for me in our group chat earlier today. I like it. I'm excited to get that thing on live television. We also have an ESPN broadcaster joining us at 4:30, Pete Souza, who I'm going to wait to give him the full introduction, but he is the man, dude. He is literally the man. We are excited to have him on the show for the very first time, and we're hoping that he becomes a friend of the show. And we're excited again. And we also have Maxie's Mortal. We have Maxie's Mortal Locks. He is now 6-1. He hit on Saquon Barkley. Listen, man, it's one of those wagons that if you don't jump on, you're going to get ran over. So it's like, why would you not just come hang out with us, man? But hey, we got an episode, and it's an epic one in store here today. So let's go Unlocked. Let's get right into the content. We have our man, Air Tiger, in the back right now. He is here to share a little bit about what he's got for us in terms of the college football playoff, in terms of college football in general, and he's going to give us some of his favorite picks. So here we are from
Savannah, Georgia. They're in Savannah, Georgia at the moment.
That's what it is. Savannah, Georgia. All I saw was the epic bowling alley inside of the house at the Airbnb. Ladies and gentlemen, Air Tiger.
Hey, let's go, fellas. Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, we're out here in Savannah, Georgia, celebrating a 30th birthday party. My wife's best
friend.
Look
at this backdrop. Look at this backdrop we got on the show here today.
We got the ocean back there, the palm trees, the sun is shining, the shades are on. Let's ride, baby. Come on.
Got the Sunday red hat. That's full
Hey.
Tiger right there.
Always got to represent my boy TW. We had that on last time I was on the show 2 weeks ago. The picks went pretty well. So let's get into it, baby. I'm hyped. It's Friday. Another college football slate. Let's do it.
Let's do this, man. Toes in the water, ass in the sand in Savannah, Georgia. And we are going to talk a little bit about the college football playoff bracket. I know that you had a thing or two to say yesterday about this bracket and teams that could potentially be in. But right now, Alabama is at the 10 spot. They've got a tough road. I know how you feel about Indiana. Ole Miss from the SEC is also headlining right now. There are multiple SEC teams, but there's also a lot of Big Ten squads as well. Tiger, how do you feel about the second edition of the college football playoff bracket?
See, the thing is, I don't like to get too into it. Don't want to overreact because this bracket will not look like this when it's all said and done. I mean, the teams that are definitely going to be there are Notre Dame, Oregon, probably Ohio State, probably Penn State for that matter. And that I've been thinking long and hard in terms of who can actually win the championship. And if you look at the top 4 that are in that bracket, I say 0 are going to win the championship. That's how crazy it is. We'll get into it, in a couple of minutes, but I've been an Indiana guy through and through. Will they win the championship? Hell no. They ain't going to win the championship. They've just been bashing the teams and the schedule that they've been dealt, and so I've been trying to capitalize on making money off of them. Going down to Penn State, are they going to win the championship? Fuck no. James Franklin ain't got a damn chance to win a championship. They went toe-to-toe with USC. USC lost to Minnesota. Minnesota lost to UNC. I mean, come on. Like, what are we talking about? And then I love Boise State. They're a team where if you're Ohio, I know you guys said, Ohio State would love to play Boise State. That's the last team I want to play because they're the team that has nothing to lose. You look at all these other teams. Penn State, overhyped, maybe something to lose. Ole Miss, I mean, I think SEC, they're a good team. You don't want to play them. You definitely don't want to play Alabama. You don't want to play Tennessee, also SEC opponent. Because that's the thing we don't know. We don't know how good the SEC is, and we don't know how good the Big Ten is until they play each other.
Yep.
The thing is, Indiana has played no one. Oregon has played Boise State, barely beat them at home, by the way. Also played Ohio State, barely beat them at home. What can Oregon do on the road or at a neutral site? I mean, they're not going to have to win one of these college football playoff games on the road, but they will have to win one at a neutral site. And you play a team like SEC Tennessee, SEC Ole Miss, SEC Alabama. Alabama's definitely going to move up from the 10 spot come the final iteration. So you look at this and you're like, it is what it is. But I can see Alabama moving over to that left side, maybe like a 8 seed, maybe even that 5 seed.
Wow.
And then you gotta play Miami, which again, I don't think Miami is going to be the ACC team standing there when all's said and done. Like Max said, basically all this week, they've fought these shitty-ass ACC opponents and barely won, and then they finally got caught at Georgia Tech. Clemson, sorry to say it, but they're just falling off too. I think SMU is probably going to be in this bracket, and they're going to be a 4 or 3 seed. Like that's the fact that they get to just go all the way, skip all these other good teams, and get straight to a semifinal game is pretty absurd. But that's just the way they have it set up, and like that 5 or 12 seed. I'm telling you right now, if an ACC team is a 4 seed or a 3 seed, you can put either one, there's going to be a 12, 5, 11, or 6 team probably in the finals. Because I think Oregon, I don't even know if Oregon gets to the finals. I love Oregon. I love their jerseys. I love their swag. But like I said, are they got that big beef like the SEC does? I don't know.
Yeah. I got a question for you. We see BYU right here at the 3 seed. They're the 6 seed, but the 3 seed in the playoff. If they win out, and so does Colorado win out, and BYU and Colorado meet in the Big 12 championship, and Colorado wins this game, so they get the automatic bid. Is BYU still in the top 12? Do we get 2 Big 12 teams?
See.
With only one, they would only have one loss.
But I guess it depends on what everybody else does. So are you going to put a one-loss BYU over a one-loss? You got to see here. Penn State, probably not, because Penn State has their best loss, Ohio State. Indiana is going to have probably their best loss, which is Ohio State. And then let's see. I guess the thing, what I can see happening is, I don't know who owns the top. Let's just say Ohio State beats Indiana. I think that's going to happen. They would go to the Big Ten playoff game or championship game. Sorry, and I said they probably beat Oregon at a neutral site, so that's going to slap them to what? Probably the number 1 seed, and Oregon's not dropping out, so Oregon probably slots into that 5. And then a one-loss Indiana and a one-loss Penn State to the number 1 overall seed, probably still in. So I think, you're going to have these weaker conferences that, like the ACC, like the Big 12, if you don't win your conference, you're out. There's no way they're putting 2 ACC, especially ACC, but because they have more losses. But you're not going to put in a 2-loss Big 12 because – they've seen the resume. I mean, BYU is good. You can only play who they schedule you to. So they've won all those games, but they're so close, and the caliber of competition is just nowhere close to the Big Ten and SEC. And I'm an SEC guy through and through. I think I'll get into it right now. Like I said, I got to be out of here at like 4:25. Let this other dude go. I only got 3 teams that have a chance to win this NCAA championship. You guys got any idea who they might be?
I'm going to go with Alabama has got a chance. Ohio State has got a chance. And the Ole Miss Rebels have got a chance.
Let's see. I wrote down my notes here. Let's take a look. So I got Alabama, Ole Miss, and I got a little asterisk. I got Ohio State or Georgia.
Okay.
Okay. I said I nailed it.
Hey, you nailed it right on the head. I think those are the only teams that have a chance to win this championship. 1, they've been there. 2, they have the talent. And 3, they have been battling all season long through adversity, through tough times. I mean, dude, do y'all remember last year, Alabama early in the season? Dude, they benched Milroe.
Yeah.
Milroe got benched against USF.
Yep.
USF barely won with their backup, and then they go on and just smack Georgia in the SEC championship when they thought Georgia was a lock to go and win the championship. And then, that's football. You get on the field, you got 4 quarters to beat one opponent, and Michigan just had their number that day. I think if Alabama and Michigan played 10 times last year, I say Alabama probably wins 6 or 7.
Wow.
But Michigan just got lucky and caught that perfect storm. And then they got gifted with Washington, which I think was not good in the championship. So it's a faux Big Ten championship win when they didn't have to battle the dogs, especially because Georgia got, put out. I think Georgia's always going to be there if their quarterback can play. He doesn't have to play good. He just has to play average. Don't try to do too much.
He just turns the ball over.
See, Stetson Bennett wasn't anything special, but he took care of the ball, and they ran through teams. And now you got this Carson Beck fella that feels like maybe he's got to perform for his Cavender girl. I don't know what he's doing out there, but I don't even know if he's sitting there smiling while he's getting smacked at Ole Miss. Dude's grinning ear to ear. And then that one cornerback, dude, that dude's sitting on the field jumping like he's starting Sandstorm at Virginia Tech or spinning a towel at the Gamecocks. You see that guy? Did you see the clip
I don't
of
think
that?
so. I don't think so, no.
After the
You have-
game, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it after the game when we
The
lost?
Georgia guy when they lost.
Yeah, dude, he's
Yeah,
sitting there.
yeah.
He looks like he's at a Stevie Aoki party in Vegas.
Yeah, he was. Did you see it? Kirby called him an idiot.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad look on that part. I don't know if I don't know if Kirby's on thin ice, but I will say that Hank brought up a good point when he was on, a few episodes ago about how Clemson has a fantastic graduation rate. I don't know if you guys ever saw that graphic that came out maybe 6 to 10 months ago, all the big programs and graduation rates. Georgia is dead last. I think it's less than 50%. So those dudes, if you're not going to the NFL, you're fucking bagging groceries. Because you have no degree, and I don't know what's going on over there. And teams, honestly, I saw some surprising teams like Alabama, 90 percentile. Ohio State, 90 percentile. So you got these dudes that you go out to their homes, you try to recruit them, you try to build your program. Hey, man, if you're not good enough to go to the NFL, you're going to graduate with a prestigious degree from our university. But Kirby Smart can't walk into his family's homes and say the same thing. You got a less than 50% shot at getting a degree from Georgia if you don't go to the NFL. So we'll see if that hurts.
I feel like part of it for Kirby Smart could be a thing of the guys he's recruiting. Like it seems pretty clear he wants certified dogs on his team. Like if you think about his defense, his entire defense really, but his defensive linemen especially, these guys are just junkyard dogs. I can't remember Jalen Carter, like he ended up being a top 10 pick, but like if he wasn't a top 10 pick, you saw the stuff he was doing off the field. Wasn't he in some car wreck that killed somebody? And he just like, you know what I mean? Like he's looking for those sorts of dogs. And it's like, he doesn't care about the graduation rate. He cares about winning these championships. And that's what he's been doing with Georgia, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, he did it with, what is it? Did Jake Fromm get one? And then I guess Bennett got 2. But honestly, I feel like he has underperformed in terms of what he's the rosters he's been building, the recruits he's been getting. Every single time they get, basically Bama's been Kirby Smart's daddy. I think he's gotten the best of Bama maybe once or twice, but in the big time moments, it was Saban at the helm, always outsmarting him, always playing better, no matter if they had the weaker players on the field. And even going back to this year, I mean, yeah, they were at home, but dude, Bama put up like 35 points fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, their dudes get drafted. I'm pretty sure the whole Eagles defense is basically Georgia. I mean, and look how it's working out. The Eagles look like a great team. I mean, they're cruising. As long as their coach just sends out the field goal unit or doesn't do stupid stuff. That they handle business. They got a super talented roster, but we're running out a little bit of time, so I'm gonna fly through these picks real quick, and I'll let you tell me what you think. Once again, it's a pretty good slate. What I'm looking at is
hold on. We gotta get a formal introduction for Tigers picks.
Okay.
So let's hear Tigers locks for this week.
We got Bryson talked about this matchup earlier, the Colorado-Utah matchup. He was talking about Utah's fan base. Sadly, they will not be playing a part because it's at Colorado. Colorado, 11.5-point favorites. You know what that tells me? They think they're going to smack Utah. Utah fought BYU great.
They did.
And so after that, I'm like, man, Utah should probably get some love. Nope. Shador's about to go in there and just show why he's balling. I don't know who's playing quarterback at Utah, but I know it ain't the 28-year-old Cam Rising. Exactly. Throw that wrist up, baby. Let him know. Hey, Heisman on watch with Travis Hunter.
I did see a fun fact. Cameron Rising, he can come back for another year next year.
Dude,
he's going to be 30.
Yeah, he's going to be able to draw Social Security here in a couple years. It's insane.
I got to ask you real quick, Tiger, before your next pick. Do you see Colorado as being that team that is in the Big 12 or that is in the playoff bracket instead of a BYU?
Yeah, right now I got Colorado slated at that 3 or 4 seed, however it shakes
Okay.
out. I think basically the Big 12 and ACC are battling for that 3 and 4 seed. The SEC and Big 10 got the 1 and 2 locked up. Those champions will take that respectively, I'm sure. So I got Colorado at that 3 or 4 seed. Is it a trap game? Maybe. I mean, like I said, anything can happen. You got a team coming to Colorado. The house is rocking. You got Dion. You got Shador. Just give Shador a chance at the end, and anything can happen. That dude slings the rock better than anybody I've seen. He is the number 1 quarterback. No doubt about it coming out of this draft.
I agree.
Next pick is might be a surprise, but we got Arkansas at home versus Texas, laying 12 and a half. Arkansas has got a super athletic quarterback. Maybe he can make some magic happen. I didn't know this, but this is a rivalry game, I guess, because they're so close together. They've not been in the same conference, but Arkansas looks at this as a big-time rival. So look to Texas maybe coming in slow, maybe sleepy. I think 12 and a half points is a lot. I think Texas still gets the job done, but maybe they squeak it out like a 7 or 10-point win. Arkansas covers. Next, we got SMU minus 18 and a half at home versus Boston College. Boston College quarterback just quit.
He
Straight up left the team.
He left.
Dude, that's straight drama.
That's like, how do you, like, he literally just said, I'm out.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien. I don't know if I'm sure you guys are familiar with him, but it's kind of crazy seeing him on the sidelines at Boston College. Dude has the least swag of all. Just he looks like he's got a Goodwill wrinkled polo on, sitting on the sideline. But he's smart. He's coached a lot of great dudes. But the thing is, when you got a lot of drama, your quarterback bench him and he leaves. Look at an SMU team. They have not got a lot of TV time, but they are one of the best teams in the ACC. They probably cover that spread easy. Also got LSU minus 3 at Florida. I don't think Florida's number 1 and number 2 quarterbacks are playing. The number 1's out for the season. Number 2, DJ Lagway, he's been dealing with some hamstring issues.
Yeah.
So they might be on like a walk-on 3rd or 4th stringer.
Yep.
LSU is going to have some fire under their belly after getting smacked at home. So they're probably going to come out and just guns blazing, probably run up the score there at the Swamp. Also got, let's see here. Everyone's looking at Georgia getting beat by Ole Miss. They're at home against Tennessee, minus 9.5. I still don't trust Tennessee's quarterback just yet. I think Kirby Smart lights a fire in him. I think Carson Beck probably plays a clean game, tries to change the narrative on if he's good or not. Minus 9.5. I say they probably run it up just like they did the past couple years.
Yep.
I gotta ask you real quick, Tiger. You mentioned Tennessee could get whopped by Georgia. Right now, they are slated at the 9 spot in this playoff. So that would probably put that team that would probably put them out. Do you just kind of assume that means Georgia slides into the spot that they're in then?
Yep. I think what's going to happen is Georgia wins out, Alabama wins out, Ole Miss wins out, and you're looking at your 3 SEC teams on the outside of probably Texas. Texas is your 4. So there's your 4 SEC teams that are in the playoff. Lastly, the thing that sucks, I think South Carolina has a great team. They've just had one of the toughest schedules, and they're barely losing to the teams that they play. Talking about a small loss to Alabama, small loss to LSU. South Carolina minus 13.5 at home versus Missouri. They're going to fucking kill them. Missouri's
quarterback's out too.
Yeah, minus 13.5. I think South Carolina rocks that. So those are my picks. Colorado minus 11.5, Arkansas plus 12.5, SMU minus 18.5, LSU minus 3, South Carolina minus 13.5. Book it. That's my plays. Love the slate. Excited to see mainly Shador. See if I want to see. I think the coolest stories right now are Boise State and Colorado. Those are the most fun teams to cheer for, especially they're all got likable people, and you don't see them in the spotlight. So we'll see what can happen, boys. Let's ride. Let's make some cash.
I'm excited to see it. Let's do it. I'm placing them.
Appreciate it.
I'm placing them.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
before you get
Y'all
out of
know-
here, Tiger, Max brings up a really good point. I'm sure you guys got something going on for the birthday, but it's going to seem like the SEC championship is going to have two teams that have two losses. Unless Texas, of course, wins out, but they have to play A&M. They could lose that game versus Texas A&M. Now we're looking at, is that where we get the 7-team tie scenario, BB?
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
the SEC standings look like?
There
I know-
could be a seven-way tie. People are assuming that Texas wins out and beats Texas A&M, and I assume I agree with that too. But if Texas loses, there could be an 8-way tie. It would all break down to like common records versus common opponents. But
If the season ended right now, who's the teams in the SEC championship?
I think it's
know-
Texas. It's Texas and Bama. I think it's either Texas and Bama or Texas and Georgia.
Okay. I say.
So
yeah,
let's say Texas plays Georgia, and Georgia has 2 losses or 3 or let's say they have 2 losses right now. They go to this game, but they beat Tennessee now. Did they? They also had another big win. Who was it again? Georgia also.
They beat Texas.
Georgia beat
Georgia
Texas.
also
they
beat Texas.
They beat Texas twice. See, that's the
Well,
thing.
let's say they lose that though.
They lose
Is
to
Georgia
Texas
still
and-
in with 3 losses?
No.
What
I
if-
think if you're a 2-loss SEC team, you're loving not being in the SEC championship, and you're loving
Yeah.
Texas to win the SEC championship.
Yeah.
I think what can really stir the pot is whoever plays Texas in the SEC championship and beats them.
Beats them. Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you look at Texas' schedule, they played a bunch of nobodies, and the one somebody they played, they beat them. I mean, they lost to them. Georgia handled them pretty easy, and Georgia has not looked great. So that's another thing. Is Texas good? I don't know. They lost to Washington last year. I thought they were going to kill Washington, but we'll see. I mean, like I said, anything can happen. I'd love to see Alabama and Texas in the SEC championship. Alabama takes care of business. That opens the door for Ole Miss. And then it's going to probably go down to Georgia and Texas as a tiebreak. And Georgia owns that tiebreaker because they've already beat them. So Texas could go in one of those situations where you've been the 1 or 2 team all year and you just slip up in the SEC championship and all of a sudden you're out of the whole 12-team playoff.
That's how Georgia was last year. They were number 1 all season, and then they weren't in it.
You can't lose the biggest game at the wrong time.
Yep.
You can lose the game early, but when you lose the biggest game at the wrong time, that's how the college football playoff has always been. They are very recency bias. So if a team is hot, they're going to keep them in. And if you lose when you get your shot on the big stage, they're like, we've seen enough. Sorry, you might be good. You might be better, but we're going to boot you out. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. That's the thing is it doesn't matter if there's 2 teams, 4 teams, or 12 teams. There will always be some salty teams out there that don't make it and probably deserve to be in it. But that's the thing. You got to cross your T's, dot your I's all season long. Every down counts. I think Alabama has shown that. We're all Roll Tide fellas here. They seem to be getting it in gear. Our boy Caden, I think they just roll the rest of the year. Milroe looks unstoppable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it.
Hashtag Milroe Hammer.
It's exciting to see what's going to happen, especially in the SEC. But overall, in the playoff, the SEC is going to be, they're all going to be battling. They're going to be battling for it to finish off this season. And we're excited to continue to cover it with you, Tiger. We appreciate you coming in to hang out with us a little bit today. But have a good one down there in Savannah. And happy birthday to the birthday girl.
Yeah, that's right. Better pour up, fellas. Take it easy.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother.
Have a good one.
Man. Yeah, dude, we're in a crazy place right now in terms of the SEC, in terms of college football in general, and I mean it's gonna be a battle. I feel like people are going to be fighting left and right, and honestly, I would say that SEC championship game is going to be valued as a playoff game because that's going to be the overall official week 1 of college football playoff. Because, like Tiger said, if you lose that game, you're probably going to be out. So I'm excited to see. I hope Ole Miss can just kind of hang out on the outside and just waltz their way in. Same with Alabama. Let's get a team like, I don't know, let's get Texas playing Georgia or something like that and see what they can do.
I would like
Speaking of Texas, we've got our guy who is out in Texas right now. And it's Pete Souza, ESPN broadcaster, and he's the reason that this show is doing what the show is doing right now. We would not have this show today if it weren't for Pete. I was so blessed to meet Pete not too long ago. We talked a couple times over the phone. I came onto his show, made some picks, didn't do too well, but nobody's counting. Nobody's counting score there. Nobody's counting score there. But now we've got this opportunity with Rogue Sports Media because of our man, Pete Souza from ESPN. Welcome to the show, brother.
Yo, what's up, fellas?
What's going on?
What's up?
Baby, man, it's nice to meet you. And Key, of course, always good to see you. I was listening to you guys a little bit. First of all, the show looks amazing.
Let's go.
And I'm looking in the chat. I mean, we got all kinds of things cooking right here.
We absolutely do. We got some guys that love ball, Pete. I'm telling you, it's fun to get these guys onto the show, hang out, and even if they're not on the show, as you can see, they're in the comments and they're fired up. They are fired up, especially about SEC football.
Yeah, well, I'm fired up. I'm doing so. Obviously, I do a lot of stuff for ESPN. I'm here. I'm in Colorado now for Colorado State, Wyoming. I'm not calling the game, but just doing some freelance stuff for CBS. But I do a lot of Big 12 stuff. We have a show every week I do in Texas, which is it's called Inside the 12. And I like you guys, it's like we're all kind of waiting to see how this thing's going to play out in the last round. Because I know you guys think this, at least I think this. There's still one more round of chaos coming.
Yep.
There's still one more. It's not over. And people here in Big 12 country, BYU barely escaped. I think that Colorado coming up now, we look at, I believe, so I'm looking right now, they're 18th, right? Is that right in the college football playoff rankings? Colorado is?
It's somewhere around there, yeah.
That is right.
Yeah. And I think they could beat, I think they could beat SMU like a drum. There we go. So Colorado's 17, SMU 14. Boise, I think that Colorado beats them. But there's all kinds of – it's interesting what could happen down the stretch here. You guys are doing a great job with these graphics and stuff. Who can I hire to – I mean, come on, dude.
That's all Kevon right there. He's the tech whiz. He's the tech whiz.
Yeah, I was talking to Corey Dickman, the guy who owns the media network, and he was like, dude, you got to watch Key and BB, dude. I was like, yeah, I've checked them out. He's like, dude, they're really good. Yeah.
Let's go.
Thanks.
Love to hear it.
Yeah.
You guys have there's a lot of Texas teams hunting. We got SMU in there. We got Texas at number 3. You got A&M. Those two are going to have a date on the last week of the season this year. We have other teams like in Big 12 country. Speaking of, we have BYU. We got Colorado. Your space right now is covered with college football. And I really want to know, what is it like being out there in Texas right now, knowing A&M versus Texas? That's coming up. Texas, like we talked about in our segment before with Air Tiger, there's a possibility that Texas goes from number 3 to not even being in the playoff at all. What is the energy out there in Texas? How are people feeling about this college football season and the way things are going to shake out?
Dude, being in Texas, I like I said, primarily Big 12. So SEC, Texas leaving for the SEC was a huge blow to the Big 12. I believe, though, that Texas, you're seeing the difference, right, between Texas and Oklahoma, just as a program and where they are now. Texas for a while was flirting with success, and now I really believe they have arrived at success. And I know they haven't played many good teams this year, and that's the knock on them. I still think they're so loaded, and there's excitement full time now, 24 hours a day. There's always been excitement, there's always attention on Texas football, but now there's excitement around Texas football, and it's been like that probably for the last two years plus. And it's not so much, the Texas fan base, you could really, I mean, the Cowboys, it's somewhat similar in a sense, like there's so much history, so much tradition, so much like Texas football sizzle around them that sometimes what gets lost in the sauce is the actual football. And Texas has emerged over, like I mentioned, the past couple of years as like a real threat, not just somebody who they talk about all off season and then finds a way at some point earlier in the year to really just expose themselves. Now it seems as though, I said expose themselves, get exposed. I think you guys understood.
Yeah.
you got
You're gonna
me.
let it slide.
Right?
Yeah. You're gonna let it slide.
So I believe that like they're no longer pretenders, and I think that they're down the stretch. I think we're going to see them win a couple big games because we saw it the past couple of years. Beating Alabama, those are games and appointments with destiny that Texas just wouldn't figure out a way to succeed in a couple years ago, and right now that's not the case. That they become a program that is able to kind of clear the threshold. Last year making the 14 playoff was huge. I think there's a lot on the line here down the stretch for the squad. There's no doubt about it. I love Texas football, though, to answer your question, and it really is such a celebration and a fun time of year. There's a lot. I will say that there's a lot of pressure around a lot of these schools now. Just like the playoff is awesome, right? But like a lot of times we'd be talking about for some of these teams or some teams like coaching searches or all kinds of other stuff that was going to happen in the offseason. And now we're talking about, hey, like, is SMU going to make the playoff? That's crazy. It's really cool.
I mean, they definitely got a real shot. They definitely got a real shot to come out of the ACC.
And the expansion, the 12-team playoff is something I think like, I was watching Nick Saban this morning and he was talking about how it's better. It's a lot better and it's super exciting, but there will be teams that are going to be crying, foul after the year if they don't get in.
Absolutely.
I think you use a lot of buzzwords around Texas football, around football in general, things like energy and the amount of excitement and destiny, things like that is what surrounds your area, your space of football. And I wanted to ask you get to call these games. You get to be in the building around that palpable feeling of energy and destiny and different things around that nature. So what is it like for you to be in the stadium, to be around the atmosphere, to really get to call these games from the booth?
Well, I'm from the Northeast, right? So I went to college to play football. Like I'm a football guy per se, but actually went to the University of Richmond, right? Like went there on full scholarship, had an injury, couldn't play, stayed with the team, stayed on scholarship and was always like affiliated, right? But growing up in Philadelphia, I mean, Penn State, of course. And then, Temple did it. Man, when I was like a younger guy, really, I barely remember. They had Paul Palmer, who was like a Heisman candidate, but long way of saying Temple sucked. And, there was no big football around where I was from. There just wasn't. Villanova was right up the street. But, there was a while when I grew up where the program wasn't even in existence. It came back. And so I say all that to say when I finally got to Texas about 7 years ago, it was I wasn't ready for it in a positive way. I just didn't know the excitement around it and the pageantry around it and being around, it was a year-round thing in Texas. I hadn't really experienced that before. Being in Philadelphia, like once football's over, you turn the page to basketball and, then you turn the page to baseball and then it keeps going. And with Texas, it's like football 24 hours a day, 365. It truly is. I mean, I do more basketball than football, and I do a lot of Big 12, and it's like, some of the best basketball in the country. But man, when your football team is humming in Texas, it's a whole different animal. And it's something that like I've never called a Texas football game. I've called a couple basketball games, but I've been down on the field before a Texas game. And it's like, it's almost like a little bit cowboyish in a way. Like it's like the state fair before a game. And it's to the point where you're thinking like, man, is this good for these guys? Like there's so many people down there, so many recruits, and it's like walking through an airport. There's people everywhere, all over the place, and a really, really nice airport because everything's like Rolls Royce there. But yeah, it's a special deal, man. Being in Texas, being around football, being a football guy, it's really special.
I got a question rebounding off that. Being in Big 12 country, I gotta know, who is Pete Souza's pick to make the college football playoff from the Big 12, or is it multiple teams?
Okay, that's a great question. So, and don't tell anybody from BYU this because they are like, those fans are really ravenous. I think it's going to be BYU and Colorado, but I think like there's all kinds of like I said, there's another round of chaos, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And so I'm not sure. That's why I'm skittish about saying this. I'm not sure BYU is going to like hang on and like finish the deal. Like, Kansas is tough. They play Kansas tomorrow night. Like, dude, Kansas is like, I think a 2.5 point underdog.
Yep.
So if you've been following all year long, that kind of makes sense to you because Kansas was a preseason top 20 team who just like hasn't shown up really till the past month. And they have shown up and they run the football and they do it so well. Devin Neal, their primary running back, or their star running back. I mean, he literally set a record last year for career rushing yards at Kansas, or last week. He's amazing. And he's been a real way that they've been able to become a real threat to teams like Iowa State, who they beat last week, and BYU, who they're playing tomorrow. That's an indication, though, that 2.5 point spread. Yeah, Kansas is good, but their team with 6 losses. BYU's playing. So we're talking. I just want to make sure everybody's clear on this. We're talking about a team that is, I think, 6 in that graphic in the college football playoff standings, who is undefeated. And we are now at November 15th. They're playing a 3-6 team at home, and they're a 2.5 point favorite. And it's not like they have not. They're not dealing with like a rash of injuries or like there's not like the flu going through the team right now. Or like no, that is what it is. So that's a window into BYU being vulnerable. And I am like all in on Colorado and what's going on there because I feel like they have like become whole as a football program. Right? Like they play well on defense up front. They play well on offense up front. Robert Livingston, the defensive coordinator they got in the offseason, the guy who was a linebackers coach forever with Cincinnati Bengals, is doing a hell of a job. And it's not just these 2 guys, but the 2 guys are the best in the country. Yeah. So it's kind of like, yeah, they could slip up. They can't afford to slip up anymore, but they could, and they could not make it. But you asked me, Big 12, I think it's BYU and I think it's Colorado. And one dark horse, don't sleep on Arizona State. They've been like that their running back Cam Scadaboo is like, he's very, very, very good. I don't know how he's going to be as a pro, but as a college player, he's amazing. And I think that he was hurt last week. He's back. This is a huge game for them on the road at Kansas State. But if they can surprise Kansas State or beat Kansas State, that'll be sort of, okay, we got a legit situation here. This because I think they only have 2 conference losses.
Okay, there we go. A team out of nowhere, the dark horse. We always love a good underdog story, a good dark horse as well. But I personally have said I think it's going to be Colorado. I think BB agrees with that. And I have to ask you one more time. You're in Texas. You're not just around college.
Yeah.
One more, like there's so much around the Dallas Cowboys right now too.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna put on the old Cowboys hat because thoughts and prayers are up to the Cowboys right now. Things are real tough. But you talked about Colorado, and we talked about this earlier this week on our show. Like, should the Dallas Cowboys, if they have that top 5 pick, should they move on from Dak Prescott? I know they just paid him. They paid him handsomely, but you could trade Dak Prescott. Now you draft Shedeur Sanders from Colorado. He's your quarterback, and you bring in Deion Sanders, get rid of Mike McCarthy, and now you've got Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, and a huge market team like the Dallas Cowboys. How would you feel if Jerry Jones pulled that move, Pete?
That's a lot to unpack, and I've thought about it too. I actually pitched a similar rebuild on my show, but to the Raiders, right?
Okay.
I was like, I mean, obviously we have fun with this stuff. We joke. I was like, the Raiders need to lose every game, right? Antonio Pierce is the man, but he probably wouldn't survive that if they lost. And Tom Brady has a connection with Bill Belichick. Belichick comes back, and then you lose every game, and you've got Shedeur Sanders. Like, that would be super exciting. But now the Cowboys have cratered that was a few weeks ago now to what you're saying. First of all, it's not as crazy as you think, and here's one big reason why. I talked to this dude, Matt Mosley, who's a beat writer. He's covered the Cowboys for a long time, knows Jerry Jones reasonably well. And he's like, Jerry is so fond of Deion that, like, it is something that could happen. Like, if you bring Deion up to Jerry, he'll just gush about him.
Oh.
And Jerry is kind of one of those guys, although he's not I'm going to hire somebody out of college. Jimmy Johnson was somebody who could point to. He did that, but I don't know that he's done it at all ever since. So, okay, that's one thing you could say negative against Deion coming. But Jerry is also like a good old boy, like, let's put the band back together. Like, yeah, let's get Deion back. Like, let's do it. Like, he is. Like, look no further than Zeke Elliott coming back to the team.
Yeah.
It's like, that was like, that was kind of hilarious, right? Like, so, Dak wanted Zeke back, and Jerry, hey, get Zeke back. It's like, that's not a great football move. I think hiring Deion would be a good football move, though. I think Deion is the real deal. I think you look at what he did at Jackson State, and you look at what he's doing at Colorado. Like, he's not like this microwave, like, action figure type deal. Like, no, he's the real deal. He comes in and he makes your program. Or the NFL is a whole different animal, though. Yeah. But I do think Deion has proven to be a winner so far and would be worth such a risk. And then your other conversation, stranger things have happened. I think the Cowboys are honestly, I think, as bad as they suck. I think that won't be an option. I don't think they'll lose like their next 8 games, but they could trade for it. I mean, I don't know, who knows?
Yeah. It's an interesting conversation. I believe Stephen A. Smith brought it up initially earlier this week, and I got to thinking, I mean, it could happen. Is it likely? Like you're saying, no, it's not. But a lot of people do, like, the argument against Deion is the fact that would he get the respect from players in the NFL? These are grown men. These aren't freshmen in college. But like, to your point, Jerry Jones loves the guy.
Does anybody, though? I could push back on that, Key, and say, like, did any of these coaches deserve? I mean, like, I would respect Deion just as much as I'd, respect, I don't know, like Cliff Kingsbury was an NFL coach. Like, I mean, didn't do great. He did well in the first half of the season. But if you're going to take a risk on, somebody like Cliff, and Jerry was talking about maybe hiring him a little bit ago. Like, you'll make a run at someone like Deion. I don't buy that. I don't buy into. I don't think, like, because I think these guys make so much money they don't have to respect anybody. And Bill Parcells ain't walking through those doors. Maybe Bill Belichick is, though. That could get interesting.
That could get very interesting. Every time he's asked the question, he kind of fades away from it. I could see old Bill coming back, and Jerry Jones would have some respect for him as well, I'm sure, with all the national championships that Bill Belichick brought to New England. But I don't know, man. It's an exciting thing to always consider. It's always something fun to bring up, just because, I mean, I think in Dallas, Deion would love to be in Dallas. Would he not?
He's got a house in Prosper, which is like in North Texas. Like, that's where he spent his bye week, I think, or at least part of it. Like, he was a big part of the Texas high school football scene. Not that plays into any kind of players you're going to get, but, like, he's Texas, man. Like, that. It's not like he doesn't call this place home.
Heck yeah! How about it, BB? We might see it. We just might see it.
That'd be a sight to see. Rating, we said it yesterday. Ratings, if that happens, Shedeur and Deion and Dallas, ratings would be through the roof. They already are. Yeah. Bringing those two to Dallas, it would be explosion. It would be explosion.
It would be even more interesting. I agree.
I got one more question before we let you get out of here.
Sure.
I know you've called some college basketball. I know you've called some college football. what has been the most electric environment that you've been in calling a sports game?
Allen Fieldhouse, I did Kansas, Iowa State.
Okay.
Not last year, but the year before that. And it's just like, you hear about it, but you show up for shoot around or practice the day before on a Friday. So we're talking Friday, the game Saturday afternoon. There's kids sleeping out, and it's not Duke, Kansas. It's Kansas, Iowa State, or it's not Duke, North Carolina. So it's not like, but that's just how it is. And it's so loud, and it's just, the seats are not, it's not like a luxury feel anywhere in the building. It's just like it's an energy feel. It's a history feel. It's for me, that's when you realize like, wow, I'm pretty lucky because anybody to circle that game on their schedule just to go to, but to be able to call it was really cool. And it was a great game too. So yeah, that was neat.
Yeah, I can second that. I'm a Tar Heel fan, and I just watched the Tar Heels go to Allen Fieldhouse the other night, and that place was rocking.
It's electric.
From opening tip to final buzzer. That you could hear it you could hear it through the TV. It was rocking.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah. Well, we appreciate your time today, Pete. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, man. I hopefully also let me add this in actually before I let you go.
Come back on my show, Cowboy. All right, what's up?
That's literally what I was about to say. I would love to come back on your show, and I would love to make a couple picks, but I don't know if you know our guy. His name is Maxie. His name is Max. We call him Max, and he has a mortal lock every single primetime game. Maxie's now 6-1 in his primetime lock of the week picks, and they're mortal locks. And so you might – I'm not trying to, get myself fired or anything. But maybe we can do a little joint segment with my guy Maxie Stats because he's got it down. He pulled a stat yesterday. Saquon Barkley on odd weeks of the NFL season, and he started to go through all the yardage that Saquon Barkley had in week 1, week 3, week 5 was a bye, week 7, and that was his reasoning behind betting on Saquon Barkley's over on rushing and receiving yards. And they cashed just like that.
Yeah, you can't knock it this morning. That's for damn sure.
You ask him, where the heck did you get this stat? And he says, ask me that at the cash counter, baby. That's his response.
I love this, Maxie, already.
Maxie Stats. But hey, thank you so much again, Pete. I'd love to come back on the show, and I'm excited to continue to develop our relationship, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited to develop a relationship with you, Kevon, and keep doing that, and BB, man, and we're so happy to have you guys at Rogue Media Network. It's really awesome. For me, I can just say, I didn't really have to vouch for you, but Corey asked me about you. And to be able to be authentic and genuine, just to talk about the relationship and the experience that I had with you so far and how good of a dude you were and how you knew dudes that I knew were really good dudes and they vouched for you. And then for Corey to come back and be like, man, Kevon is the best. That's cool. Yeah. And BB, you're all right too, brother. I'm going to keep my eye on you.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. All right, fellas.
I appreciate that. Just so you guys know, Pete Souza Show is live every single Monday through Friday. It is at 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock. What is it? It's not Pacific time. Central time.
2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central. If you want to wet your beak a little bit, just go on the page, and there's all kinds of videos and stuff.
That's exactly what it is. Pete Souza Show on YouTube live every single day, 1 o'clock on his Central time. There we go. And at 2 o'clock Eastern time. I do not know. I don't know my time zones right now. But thank you so much again, Pete. Have a good rest of the weekend, brother.
Take it easy.
Appreciate it, Pete.
Later. Man, I got to get my time zones down, baby. Good night.
Yeah, you had it a little shaking there, but I mean, if it's hard to. I didn't know what time he went live, but
yeah,
it's all good.
Pete Souza Show. It's a good show.
What a guy! What a dude! What a great guy!
What a great dude, man. We really do appreciate Pete, and he's been great for me. He's been teaching me some things along the way, and in terms of interviewing, just ask the question and get out the way. He says, and it's like, hey, if you got a guy like Pete on the show, it's pretty easy to do that. Another guy that we've got on the show today, we just talked about him. He's now 6-1. in terms of his mortal locks in prime time. And we're going to all pick our favorite games. We're going to pick every game. We're going to pick our favorite plays. And in terms of spreads, right now, we are all above, average, I would say, in terms of the picks. BB is 14-10 with one tie in there. I'm right now 16-8-1 against the spread in NFL. And Maxi Stats is sitting right about even. So we got to see what Maxi Stats has for us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Maxi Stats. What up, baby? What up, baby? What up?
Yo. What's up, fellas? I got something for y'all real quick though.
What you got?
That's the money that's the sound of that money I made last night.
Did you buy a cash register?
Oh my god!
I got
Come on,
to back
man.
up
Really?
your. You just talked about the records, and I gotta give us a little props. Like professional gamblers hit at like 56, 55, 56% of the time, and I have the worst record out of the two, and it's a 66% hit rate. So obviously, if you're watching the show, you're making cash. And we're not picking winners. We're not picking just money line winners here. Easy
No.
picks. We're out here picking spreads. We're picking spreads.
If you are to take every single bet, you can either pick me, you can pick BB, you can pick Max. You take every single one that we do, you will be up cash, and it's really just that simple. So let's just get right into it. Let's get right into it. But Max, real quick though, did you hear? Jerry Jones is a big fan of Deion Sanders. A big fan.
Oh
of
yeah,
Deion
yeah.
Sanders.
And
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
I was in
see
here.
him.
I was in here listening to Pete. That was cool.
I like
Casey
that.
Zager with
That was
the
really
comment
cool.
for us. Hire Deion,
Hire Deion.
draft Travis, and keep Dak. You gotta have them. For Travis, you gotta have the number one pick. Cowboys are gonna have to have the number one pick.
They're gonna. I
Yeah.
mean, hey, they might make a trade though, BB. They really might. Like,
Yeah, they
if
could.
I feel like if you're gonna hire Deion Sanders, right, and you want Deion Sanders to be your coach, Deion Sanders don't come for free, baby. And a paycheck is not enough. He's gonna.
He needs his
I
boy.
bet one of the things is in the contract is I need one of my boys,
Yeah.
and that's at the
Yeah.
bottom in the fine print. In the fine print, I need one of my boys, and Jerry Jones
100%.
signs it.
100%.
And we're off and running. We're off and running. I mean, I could definitely see it happening, but here we go with the picks for this week. Boom, boom, boom. Shakalaka. The Eagles yesterday beat the Washington Commanders 26-18. And Maxi, the mortal lock, smacks once again. We're at the cash counter counting that cash. We don't know where you got the stat from, but that's neither here nor there because everybody made a little bit of money because of our man Maxi Stats yesterday. I also picked Brian Robinson to score the first touchdown, so we'll sprinkle a little bit of that love in there as well. But there are a lot of big games this week. Carson Jones said it yesterday on the show. It is a playoff week in the AFC.
Mhm.
There's some really big implications in the AFC North specifically, but in the entire AFC picture this week because we got the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We've also got the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and you could sleep on this game if you want, but on Sunday Night Football, the Bengals are going into LA, and they are playing the Chargers, and they have to win out. They got to, especially with the Chargers currently at a higher seed and into the playoffs, and they are not. So this is a big weekend in the AFC. We're going to start with one of the biggest games of the entire season between the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This game is in Pittsburgh, and Baltimore is favored by 3 points. BB, who you got?
I feel like the AFC North, these games are always dogfights. I feel like they always come down to the end of the game. If you're going to give me the Steelers +3 at home, I have to take it. That's my pick on this one.
Okay. Max.
Am I up? Okay. I kind of agree with BB. I feel like the Steelers have kind of been getting disrespected all year. I feel like in a lot of games they've been that right around that 3-point underdog. But this is a different Ravens team than they've played in the past. Give me the Baltimore Ravens -3.
I agree. I agree with both of you guys, to be completely honest, because the Steelers have been highly disrespected. The Steelers do have a great team, but the Baltimore Ravens have just one of the best offenses in the entire league. Headline, by MVP frontrunner Lamar Jackson. And in a game like this, I get it, they're on the road, but give me the Baltimore Ravens -3. I don't think the Steelers can do the whole dog thing 2 weeks in a row, even though they are home dogs, and we love a good home dog. Give me the Baltimore Ravens -3 in this one. The next game is not so big in terms of implications, but the Miami Dolphins could make a run for it if they could win out. They are at home versus the Las Vegas Raiders, and they are favored by 7 points. Maxie, who you got in this one?
Yeah, I've got the Dolphins at home in this one. The Raiders have literally nothing to play for. I think they want to lose at this point, so give me the Dolphins.
Yep, I'll second that. I think the Dolphins offense looks back to normal this week. A couple weeks under Tua's belt. I think their offense is just a little bit too much for the Raiders to even keep up with them. I like the Dolphins -7.
I love it. I love it as well. You can expect fireworks from Tyreek Hill. He's been really, really out of it this year, it feels like. I think this is a great get-right game for a guy like Tyreek Hill. He scores probably 2 touchdowns in this one. I'll probably go ahead and sprinkle that in on top. But give me the Miami Dolphins -7 at home. The next game, the Green Bay Packers are coming off of a bye, and it feels as though hell is all broke loose in Chicago for the Bears. Can Caleb Williams, with his new play caller, Thomas Brown, who came from the Carolina Panthers, can they get right in this game versus the Green Bay Packers? BB, what do you think?
Chicago's a struggling team. You're mixing in a new play caller this week. I don't think that's beneficial for a young quarterback in Caleb Williams. The Packers have been looking pretty good as of late. They got the run game going. Josh Jacobs has started to improve. I think Green Bay keeps it rolling past a struggling Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I'm with BB on this one. Just because you have a new offensive coordinator, new play caller, doesn't help that you have the 5 blind mice blocking for Caleb Williams. Give me the Packers.
Oh my God. I agree with you guys in this one. I do think offensive coordinator boost is not necessarily the same as the aura boost that you get from a new head coach. Give me the Chicago Bears, though, to cover 5.5 points at home versus the Green Bay Packers. The next game is a poop stain of a football game, unless you like Jameis Winston. And BB loves Jameis Winston. He's coming off of a bye week as well. The second week under New Orleans head coach. And we're going to see if last week was a fluke. Was last week a fluke, or the Saints the real deal? Maxie, who you got in this game with New Orleans playing at home?
I've got the Browns, but I really hope when I'm watching ball at the bar on Sundays that this game is on none of the TVs in there. But I've got the Browns.
This isn't just a normal turn on the TV. You get to watch Jameis Winston football. This is a revenge game for Jameis Winston. Going back and playing his old team, the New Orleans Saints. I think he comes in there with some vengeance. Give me the Browns as underdogs.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to take the Browns in this one as well. I think last week was that routine aura boost from having a new head coach. I think the Saints look quite similar and back to what they were 2 weeks ago when they got their coach fired here in Carolina. They just don't have the weapons, dog. Like, let's be honest. Derek Carr, come on. Alvin Kamara, I'm praying for you. And all the wide receivers, I wish I knew your names, and I'm sure you don't know mine either, but that does not matter because you are the ones playing in this game, and you are the ones that are going to lose to the Cleveland Browns. Next game, we've got the Minnesota Vikings, and we have the Tennessee Titans. The Minnesota Vikings are 6-point favorites in this one on the road going into Nashville. BB, who do you like in this one?
I believe we have Will Levis at the helm this week. I think the Titans are the worst team in football. Hopefully, Will can give us another viral meme this weekend. I think Sammy D and the boys win by a touchdown. Give me the Vikings.
Yep. I'm riding with BB on this one. Give me the Minnesota Vikings to go out and crush the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, BB said it. I'm going to keep it short. Vikings -6. And the next game, the biggest spread of the entire NFL season.
Wow.
Sits on this game where the Detroit Lions are favored by 14 big ones versus the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. Or is Trevor Lawrence back, BB, or is he still out? Do we
I think
know?
he should be back. I think he should be back.
And they're still dogs by 14 points. Give me the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions are going to tap on that ass at home. And let's see what happens. Who you got, Max?
Yeah, I got the Lions. I mean, with Trevor Lawrence, without Trevor Lawrence, doesn't really matter. Give me the Lions.
Lions are a good football team. Some would say the best team in the NFL. I think they looked pretty poor on Sunday night against the Houston Texans. Still squeaked out the win. The Jaguars, 6 of 8 of their losses are by less than 5 points. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars plus 14.
Here we go, BB. I like it. I like it a lot. Next game is a fleeting Aaron Rodgers and a New York Jets team able to cover against a new a returning quarterback, Anthony Richardson. I don't think so. I want the Indianapolis Colts plus 4 points, and I think that we start to see Anthony Richardson in his prime, and he starts to really develop as a quarterback in this game with Jonathan Taylor, with Josh Downs, some of my favorite fantasy football players. I'm also starting Anthony Richardson in that game, so there's a little bit of bias behind this pick. Indianapolis Colts plus 4.
I'm right there with you. I think the Jets could win this game. Is it by more than 4 points? I don't think so. I like the Colts with the points plus 4.
Pray for Kevon's fantasy team starting 3 Indianapolis Colts. I think the Jets blow out the Colts by 14.
Good night. All right. Is anybody in the chat have their favorite play of the week, their favorite spread of the week? Any games that you guys are seeing in the chat that you love? While you guys type that out, though, we're going to go ahead and cover the New England Patriots at home versus the LA Rams. They are 4.5-point dogs. Drake May's playing in this one, BB. Your guy. Who do we got in that one?
I've kind of found myself on Patriots Twitter nowadays, liking all these Drake May tweets. And I've seen some Patriots, I wouldn't say burner accounts, I've seen some Patriot fan accounts that claim they have only 2 NFL caliber players on their entire roster, Drake May and Christian Gonzalez. So just with that information alone, give me the Rams minus 4.5.
The Kyle Duggar slander, I'm not standing for it.
I was a tweet.
Absolutely
It was
not.
a tweet I read.
I'm not standing for the Kyle Duggar slander. I've got the Pats to cover at home against the Rams.
I'm going to roll with Max here. I got the Pats plus 4.5. I mean, this is a team that defensively, they've been looking elite ever since head coach called them out and called them soft. And I think that the Rams, they got the weapons, they got great players, but on the road in New England, Drake May's been playing good football. Give me the Rams to win the game, but I do think the Patriots cover that 4.5 with defense alone. Pierce's favorite game is actually this next one. The Dirty Birds are dogs in Denver against Sean Payton, and I like it too, Pierce. Give me the Falcons plus 2 on the road. I hate Sean Payton, and you'll never see me pick the Broncos. I'm not kidding. You're never going to see me pick the Broncos on here. Max?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of seems like a weird line. I guess maybe playing at Mile High is a pretty big advantage. But I'm still gonna take the Falcons here.
I'm a well-known Falcons hater. The Broncos have dropped 2 straight, I believe. I think they get back on track and knock off the fraudulent Dirty Birds. Give me the Broncos.
I'd love to see the Dirty Birds lose. That just brings the Carolina Panthers one step closer to the NFC South lead, but I'm not picking the Broncos to get that one. The next one is honestly a pretty big game as San Francisco is trying their best to get in that playoff picture. They're trying their best to get closer to the Arizona Cardinals, who are in the lead in the NFC West, and they play NFC West foe at home in the Seattle Seahawks, and they are favored pretty juicy, 6.5 points. They got Christian McCaffrey back. That's always good for the San Francisco 49ers. BB, do you think McCaffrey is enough for the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Seahawks by a touchdown?
I do. I think McCaffrey, you could definitely tell there was a little rust on him last week. It looked like he wasn't really moving the same or seeing things the same, I might would say, in his first game back. I think the offense gets back on track. I think the 49ers win big.
Yeah, I've also got the 49ers. I think they were kind of waiting all year for McCaffrey to get back. I think they thought that they could kind of roll without McCaffrey, kind of save them until they get to the playoffs. But this is a huge game for them, so give me the Niners.
Yep. You speak about the rust with Christian McCaffrey, BB. He still had like over 100 scrimmage yards. I think he still had like 16 or 17 fantasy points too. Like Christian McCaffrey he's just a different type of a beast. And I think that shows up at home versus Seattle Seahawks. I got the San Francisco 49ers by 6.5 points as well. The other game of the week, and honestly, huge implications. This is the true game of the week. Josh Allen gets owned by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Can he finally overcome that and not lose in overtime to some coin flip or something like that at home versus the Kansas City Chiefs? Maxie, who you got, Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes?
Can you start with BB here? I mean, this game's still a toss up for me.
He needs an expert take. I hear you. But I think Josh Allen gets his revenge. He goes beast mode. He's tired of losing to Kermit the Frog. Give me the Buffalo Bills -2.
I'll go ahead and go, Max. I'm gonna be honest with you. Why the reason I'm making this pick is because I want it the very first time. I want that virginity taken this year for the Kansas City Chiefs to be here in Charlotte to Bryce Young. So give me the Kansas City Chiefs as dogs on the road versus Buffalo.
So yeah, I mean, this one's definitely still a toss-up, but I did see something that the officiating crew that is reffing this game calls the most pre-snap penalties, and the Bills lead the NFL in pre-snap penalties. And the refs just love Mahomes, so give me the Chiefs.
Go ahead, Max.
just based off the refs alone, give me the Chiefs.
And speaking of the refs, I also saw a tweet that I think the Kansas City Chiefs are undefeated with the head officiate of this game calling the games. I believe it's either 8-0 or 9-0 or something like that. They have not lost with this referee calling the game, and I don't think he wants that to stop now. The Kansas City Chiefs win. The Arizona Cardinals are on a bye. Carolina Panthers are on a bye. My two teams that I really, really like to watch play football are on a bye. So we'll see how this weekend goes for me. The Giants are also on a bye, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on a bye. But another game that is huge for AFC playoff implications, the Cincinnati Bengals are on the road. Sunday night football versus the LA Chargers. This one's gonna be. I think this one's a tougher one to pick than the Kansas City game. So I'm gonna let you guys take the reins. Who do you guys got in this one? Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow?
I think this is going to be another excellent football game. We got some dog fights in the NFL this week. Looking forward to it. But I feel like people have kind of started to drop off the Justin Herbert hype train these past 2 years. I think this is the game that puts him back on the map. We see a Jay Herbo show in a high-scoring affair with the Bengals. I got the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the opposite of you on this one. This could be an early mortal. I really like the Bengals. I have the Bengals to make the playoffs still. So, and this is the first step in making that happen. So, yeah, give me the Bengals money line.
All right. I think quietly Joe Burrow has been maybe the best quarterback in the league as of late. I mean, throwing multiple 400-500-yard games and 5 touchdowns. Like, nobody else is doing that. But his defense is just so trash that they have a terrible record. They're not in right now. And I think they're going to struggle against this LA Chargers defense. Like, I don't think Herbert is going to win this team the game. If the Chargers win the game, it's going to be because they can get a stop they can get stops against Joe Burrow, but I don't think that they can do that. Give me Joe Burrow, give me Jamar Chase. T. Higgins is back in the lineup. He's trending in that direction. I love the Cincinnati Bengals too, Max. And if that's the mortal, I'll throw multiple, and I mean multiple units on the Cincinnati Bengals in this game. We're going to cover the Monday Night Football game on Monday. We appreciate you guys so much. We're a little bit over time. Who cares, though? We're just hanging out. It's a happy Friday. It's going to be a good one. I'm about to head on down to Charleston. We got some fishing in the morning. We're celebrating birthdays. This is a good weekend ahead. I hope you guys have a good one as well. You guys got anything planned?
Watch some sports. Have some drinks. Tar Heels play basketball tonight. Going to be tuned into that one. That's about it.
Let's go.
Yeah, watching this Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight tonight.
That's tonight.
Yeah.
It's on.
Do y'all think that slap was staged?
Maybe. Because, I mean,
Dude,
it was
the
immediate.
whole thing is staged, man. Jake Paul's going to win. He's going to win.
Did you guys see what the fight's
staged.
on?
What'd you say?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
On Netflix. The fight is on Netflix.
Yeah.
How much money are these guys getting paid? It's on Netflix. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Oh my! I think Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson puts him down.
Dude, I would love
Did you
Mike
see
Tyson
how
knock
quick?
him out.
Did you see how quick? And it was like he gave him a good shot. I mean, he still got speed, and I think he still has the power too. I think Mike Tyson lays him down tonight. Low-key.
I mean, I hope so, but
yeah,
I hope so, but we'll see.
I mean, the thing about that is like it's gonna have to be early if because Mike Tyson's like I think
he's
56.
60. He's 60.
He's not going.
Like, come on.
Rounds. He's not going 7
No.
rounds, so he's gonna have to put him down early.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a good one, but. We're going to be back on Monday, guys. We're going to cover Monday Night Football. We're going to go over Sunday night results. Hopefully, like BB said, we get some nice memes, especially out of a guy like Will Levis. He is freaking awesome for the NFL.
He literally took the worst pick I've ever seen.
This up, fellas. Hope you guys had a great week. I hope you stacked another brick on top of the brick that you laid last week and the brick that you laid 2 weeks ago as well. And you continue to do that going into the week. Remember that you are the man. You are the exact man that you thought you were, and you are going to continue to be that man as well. I hope that you guys have a beautiful, beautiful weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. How about that, fellas? Y'all have a good weekend as well. Good stuff this week. Great calling it yesterday, BB. Great episode. Tick, tick, tick.
Boom! Shout out Air Tiger. Shout out